What the heck? This is the most epic rainbow I've ever seen. Maybe there's some luck to me ordering that A7IV to where
let's go for a little walk, Archibald.
Came straight to you because you're exactly what keeps me faded. I finally made the rest of my life. Tell me the part that goes like I got you.
As I'm sure I've told you in my previous videos, time and time again, as music producers in this day and age, we have a lot of different hats to wear, especially when we're independent and we have to do the marketing ourselves. What I do as a music producer, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, is I make music videos and they have to be a little bit cinematic. I make these YouTube style videos, which are vlog or instructional videos. Then I also have TikTok and Instagram videos. I've got to make Instagram posts. I've got to make my general branding of photos online, whether that's on Spotify or on my website. And then finally, I also have to just have fun and entertain myself with photography and videography. So I want a nice, capable camera where I can do all these different things. Okay, but back to the main topic of this video. I just did something. I ordered the new Sony A7IV, basically the best hybrid camera that you can buy at this point in time, at least one that you're mobile and able to shoot your own personal content and stuff that's a little bit more professional. But why did I do this? Why did I spend all this money on ordering a brand new camera as a musician? Well, let me take you back and tell a little story about film and video in my life as a musician. All right, let's go. It all started back in the 90s when I was growing up as a kid. I filmed some crazy short films with one of those over-the-shoulder video cassette camcorders. And I had a hell of a time stealing my parents' camera to do that. And then in the 2000s, I got the slightly smaller, easier to use ones. And with the smaller tapes, I shot my own little basketball videos with my friends. And yeah, I just had a good time. I also, in the 2000s, got my first camera. Well, after borrowing my parents' digital compact camera, I decided to invest a couple $100 into this little black digital camera, birdies, that I still have. And all right, we gotta take a look at the birds. One sec. So I got this small little black digital camera that I still have to this day. I don't use it, but I had fun. And then I think around the 2010s is when cameras just weren't really necessary anymore, at least the small, cheap ones that you would buy, because phones could do as good, if not better, as most digital cameras. So I just started using my phone, and it's a different feel when you're using your phone, but for both video and for photos. It's not as much fun, not as much entertainment. You're not fully invested in it. So the years passed. I really got into music in the mid 2010s in terms of music production, and that is when I finally decided it was time to invest in some camera gear, and that's what I have now. In October of 2018, I finally bit the bullet and I bought myself my very own camera. This camera, by the way, is the Sony A6500. However, there have been some things that are starting to nag me more and more every day about this camera, and it's why I'm finally upgraded to a more expensive and a lot heavier and larger camera.
It's the better mind and put all of this in your hands. I'm strong enough to hold it, and with all of you I'm whole again. I hate it lying to your face and sure of how it.
You just always have to have these things in the back of your head, like, am I in focus? Am I using the correct color profile? Is the light just right? So there's a lot about this camera that you have to always think about. And I'm ready to just relax and film and just appreciate the composition and what I'm actually talking about in the content and not my camera settings. So that is why the A7 IV is good. Now, the A7 IV has just 1,000 new features that are really good, has some new features that are kind of under the radar, but let me talk about the main ones that I think we all have to pay attention to because they're by far the best features for this new camera. First, it's got an amazing cinematic look. It's got 10-bit 422 color science, and it looks very cinematic. I actually like the Cine profile. It doesn't have quite as much dynamic range as the S-Log3, but you just have such an easy starting point, and it still has way better dynamic range than a camera like this, and it seems like you're watching a film no matter what you make. Really good color science on the new A7IV, just as good as the A7S3. Now the dynamic range is also absolutely stunning. It's like just as good as the A7S3 once again. You're not gonna clip your sky very much, and your shadows are gonna still have some detail in them. And then that brings me to the low light performance, which in this camera is absolutely amazing. I can't believe how low you can take the camera and get no noise. And I think part of that is because you have the 32 megapixel camera that you're downsampling from, but you have dual native ISO, so I think at 800 and then 3200. Once you're in twilight type of lighting, you can just go up to 3200 and have a clean, perfect shot. I think the low light is as good, if not better, than the A7S3 for most scenarios. The sharpness is really, really good, which is what I was referencing earlier about that larger sensor with 32 megapixels downsampling that just makes a very sharp image. A huge step forward in autofocusing. This guy, do you see him out there?
One sec.
Okay, back to the video. The autofocusing of the A7IV is going to be way better than something like this, but even better than the A7 III. And you have the eye autofocus for animals, humans, birds, and it's just very quick and snappy. You're not going to have issues with autofocusing. And then for photo, the resolution is good, so you can just crop into whatever scene that you take. I think it's the perfect amount of megapixels for photography. Not too many where it's huge file sizes and slows down your computer, but big enough that you can crop in a lot and still have a clean image. I guess lastly, just the general user experience is that much better with the new menu system and all of the customization options, including the new video to photo to S&Q switcher, so you can just switch back and forth between those settings without having to go and reset everything. Another reason is the slow motion on the A7IV. You're able to do 4K 60, kind of, with a crop. That's quite a bit of a crop. Normally when you're filming 60 frames per second, probably should be cropped in so you can get more of the motion in frame. And then you can do 120 frames per second, but that's only in HD. Now that takes me to the cons of the camera. Yes, the slow motion with that crop is a con. I would like to be able to do that in full frame. It's very expensive at $2,500, but I think you're getting quite a deal given all that's inside of the camera. The rolling shutter is pretty bad from some of the videos I've watched, so you gotta actually keep that in mind, which unfortunately, you know, I'm trying to go to a camera where I don't have to think about stuff too much, and the rolling shutter is definitely an issue. It's a very heavy camera, not as heavy as some others, but you know, the lenses are larger, the whole body is a lot heavier than an APS-C camera. You are gonna have to lug around that camera when you're backpacking and stuff, and you'll definitely feel it. Kind of attached to that is the lenses are all much more expensive than on an APS-C style camera, so you're spending at least 2 times as much, but there is a great lens selection.
Place a bet on my end. Put all of this in your hands. Not strong enough to hold it in. Put all
It's getting really windy. I hope maybe I should take this off right now.
hate it lying to your face.
Now let's go back and reference what I talked about at the very beginning in terms of why music producers need good cameras. So first, it's to make music videos. And with the A7IV, you're definitely able to make music videos because you have amazing color science, you have great dynamic range, you have great low light capabilities, you have really good sharpness, and then you have slow-mo. So if you have all of those different capabilities, you can make Hollywood grade music videos that are just very filmic and look amazing. Now in terms of something like this, like a YouTube video, you have, you know, that great picture quality, but you also have the flippy screen and you have amazing autofocus. So you're able to use it for music videos and for YouTube style videos. Then for Instagram or TikTok videos, well, I mean, all you need is any camera, but you have a lot more fun and you feel like more of a film cinematographer when you're using a camera like the A7 IV. Same goes for Instagram ads. You could really use any camera for those. Now for photos, specifically for Instagram, you've got, you know, the dynamic range, the good colors, the sharpness, all those megapixels you can crop into, and you also get the low light capability. Additionally, you have the easy switch between video and photo, so when you are filming, you can just switch to photo, take your Instagram shots, switch back, and you are good to go. Now let's talk about photos for websites and Spotify bio, stuff like that. Well, you have all of those features for picture I just talked about, and the main one is the high resolution. When you are working on a website photo, you actually probably do need better resolution than for Instagram, so you have a lot more megapixels to work with. Finally, just the fun of the camera. It makes it a lot more enjoyable when you have a dedicated camera to do whatever hobbies that you have in photography. So whether it's backpacking and landscape photography, or travel, video and photography, whatever your extra hobbies are, if you have a dedicated camera, you're much more likely to actually do that type of content instead of just using your phone, which feels kind of cheap and something that everyone can do, even though the quality of phones are getting better and better by the day. We ended up having an epic night tonight. It was pouring rain all day. I was gonna make this video in the rain, and then it kind of opened up halfway, got windy, but I decided to come down to the park and film outside with the boy. Well, the rain has returned, and with it, this epic rainbow. We got lucky today. Hopefully with the A7 IV, I can make even better videos than this, but I mean, at the end of the day, it just comes down to how lucky you are and whether or not there's a rainbow in your background. What the heck? This is the most epic rainbow I've ever seen. Wow. That's all I gotta say today. It's a double rainbow now. Guess I got a little lucky today. This is the best conditions I've ever experienced in my life. I actually have chills right now. I don't even know if my camera's recording, but I mean, this has got to be the most epic scene I've ever seen in my life. Maybe there's some luck to me ordering that A7 IV to where it's just gonna, every single time that I come out with the camera, I'll get these scenes. But I mean, whew, I just can't comprehend how gorgeous it is. We're at Lake Sammamish right now in Bellevue, Washington, and after the rain, as they say, comes a rainbow. Soak it in. I hope I can share it to you wherever you are in the world. I have chills right now. It's crazy.